Hey, we're here at WrestleCon. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Top 5.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Top 5. Brought to you from the Wrestling Red Carpet. Starring the Showstopper, Shawn Valentino. Also starring Rich Twilling. Today's special guest star, former WWE Diva and TNA Knockout, supermodel Shelly Martinez. This week's episode, the top 5 moments from WrestleMania 34.
Hey everybody, this is Shawn Valentino, your host on the Pro Wrestling Top 5. My broadcast partner Rich Twilling is actually suffering from an injury he underwent at WrestleMania while fighting in a classic independent match, considered one of the greatest matches in the history of pro wrestling. But today I'm going to come to you solo, and today we're going to go over the top 5 moments from WrestleMania 34. So for this week's episode, I'm going to give you something different because I was at WrestleMania in New Orleans and I had an up-close and personal experience with the wrestlers and with a lot of the biggest events during WrestleMania weekend. So I'm going to give you my top 5 personal experiences from WrestleMania weekend. So I'm going to start off with my number 5, which was attending Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard live in New Orleans at the House of Blues. And this is one of the best podcasts I've ever heard. I think this is the best podcast in wrestling right now because Bruce Prichard was Vince McMahon's right-hand man for decades, and he brings so much to the table as far as amazing up-close experiences with Vince McMahon and the WWE and the WWF. But not only that, he's an amazing entertainer that is a great storyteller, and he does some incredible impressions of talent such as Randy Savage, Dusty Rhodes. His impressions are just really uncanny, so it's really an experience to see him live with his co-host Conrad Thompson. And they had a lot of great guests here this year, including Eric Bischoff, Pat Patterson, and even Sean Mooney from the old event center from WWF days. And I thought one of the highlights of the show was seeing Pat Patterson perform My Way live at the House of Blues. And the guy actually had an incredible voice. And I also wanted to congratulate Bruce and Conrad for their new show on the WWE Network. And at number 4 on my personal top 5 moments from WrestleMania was attending WrestleCon live. And we were actually staying at the same hotel as WrestleCon in New Orleans. So that was a really surreal experience because there's wrestlers all over our hotel. Just walking down our hallway, and it's like going back in time through decades and decades of wrestling history, which was pretty incredible. And one of my favorite moments during WrestleCon was actually being able to put on the Road Warriors shoulder pads, which was just amazing, getting those spikes on. And those things are extremely heavy. As you can see, I had those on in the opening of the show, and that was just a really surreal, fun experience. Another cool experience was coming face to face with Akeem the African Dream, also known as the One Man Gang. Really cool guy. And we saw a lot of superstars from years past, including Goldberg, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So it was really an amazing experience that I highly recommend. Next time WrestleCon is in your town, definitely go check it out. And at number 3 on my list was the overall atmosphere in New Orleans. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to check out WrestleMania live, but there's nothing like when WrestleMania comes to your town because it's really a week-long experience. And when we're walking down the streets of New Orleans, it looked like everybody had a wrestling shirt on, so the atmosphere it really resembles. It's kind of like Comic-Con because you have all these wrestling quote-unquote geeks that are all over the place, and it was really incredible to just geek out with these guys and just talk about wrestling history, wear our wrestling costumes, and also see some sexy southern girls wearing wrestling belts. After all, it is New Orleans, it is Bourbon Street, so we had a little bit of bourbon and a lot of beer, and we had a great time enjoying the atmosphere and the festivities of partying New Orleans with the wrestlers and the wrestling fans during WrestleMania weekend. And at number 2 on my list, obviously this wouldn't be complete without mentioning the actual event, WrestleMania. And I thought this WrestleMania was just one half of a great show because I thought the first half was really fun to watch. I thought you saw the women really steal the show this year with Charlotte and Asuka having a great match, Ronda Rousey having a landmark performance in an excellent match. One of the best WrestleMania matches I've probably ever seen, with her and Kurt Angle going up against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. All of them played their parts to perfection. It just goes to show you at WrestleMania, it's really the big stars that come to shine. We're in an era where people really hype up work rate, but I think that wrestling at its heart is all about star power. You saw the big stars come to play at WrestleMania, and they really stole the show. And unfortunately, the downside of WrestleMania was it was way too long. And it's really been like this the last couple years, but I think I really felt the effects of it this year. And I think most fans did as well, as you saw that apathetic reaction to that main event between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. I've been to 16 WrestleManias live, and I've never seen anything like that. And I think it's because the show was way too long, and also they didn't give the fans what they wanted in the main event. They didn't want to see another Roman Reigns main event, and they did a horrible job in the build-up to this WrestleMania with Roman Reigns talking down Brock Lesnar and saying how he's just a part-time guy that doesn't care about wrestling fans, and that didn't build up Roman Reigns. In effect, it tore down both of them, and as a result, you had a really apathetic reaction to this year's WrestleMania main event. But despite the fact that I was bored much of the show, I was really excited to be at WrestleMania because, after all, us as wrestling fans, it's really a childhood dream for all of us to attend WrestleMania in person. And if you haven't done so, I highly recommend it because it's truly an amazing experience. And as far as production and spectacle, there's nothing like attending WrestleMania in person. And at number 1 on my list, what can top actually being at WrestleMania Live? How about entering the WrestleMania After Party, exclusive to WWE superstars as well as their families. I was lucky enough to be there with some of my friends, including OJ Entertainment, and it was truly an amazing experience seeing all these wrestlers right after their biggest show of the year in New Orleans. And it was really cool. They had an open bar, they had a full buffet of food. It's truly an amazing experience. I've been to a few of these WrestleMania after parties, and it's truly an unbelievable experience because you can really see some of these wrestlers let their guard down, have some drinks in the open bar, and just have fun because these guys work really hard, and they had an extremely long night at WrestleMania. It was like a 6 or 7 hour show, so they deserved a party, and we had 3 or 4 days of fun, so why not continue it at the WrestleMania After Party, live and in person in New Orleans. Truly an amazing experience, a real dream come true. New Orleans is all about the big party, and what more fitting of a way to end the weekend than attending the most exclusive party of the year. Hope all of you enjoyed this up-close and personal recap of my WrestleMania weekend, and I want you to share your thoughts on your experiences with WrestleMania, whether you watched it on TV on the WWE Network, or whether you went there in person live in New Orleans. I want to hear your thoughts, and if you want to see more of my thoughts, check out the PW Torch as well as ProWrestling.net. because I had a lot of articles and live updates throughout the week. You can still see those up live on both of those websites. And I highly recommend that all of you go VIP for ProWrestling.net and the Pro Wrestling Torch. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button, press subscribe, and we'll see you next week on the Wrestling Red Carpet.
Thank you for watching the Pro Wrestling Top 5. See you next week on the Red Carpet.